years ago, if you want to get your computer science degree, you have to take business writing, okay, or write a writing class, for business applications. And that's because our CIS department evolved from the business department, okay, because in the early days, at ARC, they did not have programming classes. What do they have? They have application classes, business application classes like Word, Excel, and so on and so forth. And then eventually the department grew to the part where we have programming classes, and then we have the computer science degree. But the source or the origin, it still tracks all the way back to the business days, and that's why originally we still have business communication as a part of the requirement for a computer science degree. And guess who took it out? There actually has been some complaints from some people that we took that out of the computer science degree, because some people say that if you just take computer science classes, you might have a lack of what they call soft skills, like communication skills. I don't know about that, because if we only have so many units we can allocate to the computer science degree, I would much rather allocate all the core units like programming, concepts like these into the program, instead of putting business English into it. But that's just my take. It does not mean that soft skills are not important. It simply means that you can probably acquire the soft skills later on indirectly by just practicing or taking some other classes when you have time to do it.
How do you acquire a job without soft skills?
You cannot.
Exactly.
But that's what the employers are complaining. They're complaining that many applicants do not have the necessary soft skills for jobs. Even technical jobs like programming, they don't have the necessary soft skills.
99% of the time, the people interviewing doesn't know shit about the programming part of them. They only know about soft skills.
That is true, but there are also a lot of programmers who cannot write in English.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a problem, because if you cannot communicate in a written way with other programmers, then it becomes really difficult, because you can no longer document your subroutines so that other people can know how to use the subroutine that you have written. So that's a soft skill. Communication is a very, very important soft skill, for programmers and even for many other technical jobs. And we don't have any formal training anymore, throughout our CS program. Okay. Any other questions? No other questions? If there are no questions, I have one more thing, because this is a beginning class for those of you who want to kind of continue through the computer science program. I just want to let you know that there's a club, the ARC Dev Club, DEV. It's a computer science, student club that is on campus, local to ARC. And you guys can look into that, starting next semester. The club is already here, okay? ARC Dev is the name of the club. It's already here, but at this point they're somewhat inactive, because the club was only formed about 3 weeks ago, and it's already at the end of a semester. But since most of you will be sticking around for at least 1 or 2 more years, you might want to look into joining that club. The purpose of that club, I'm the club advisor, so I'm not really, in charge of the club, but I am the advisor advising the club. The purpose of the club is to help students so that they can transfer to a 4-year university with a better success rate, and also after the transfer they will also have a better chance of graduating from the bachelor's program and getting a job. Okay, so it has a very practical side to the purpose of the club. Right now they are looking into club projects, like what to do, and some of the projects they're looking into are like embedded system programming, web programming, and some other interesting projects that I think personally will be very helpful, even if you want to look for a job right after getting a computer science degree. So you might want to look into that. We'll have a newsletter. Okay, I can actually post a newsletter on Moodle and on that is the email address of the person who's in charge of the club. The club will probably stay dormant over the summer because nobody wants to work on anything over the summer. But starting, fall semester, I think they will have something available, something to do for everybody. Okay, any other questions? I really hate to waste, 20 minutes of this class.
What will we expect to see in CISP360?
Aha, good question. Okay, don't you guys think that that's a very good question? What you can expect to see from CISP360? Is anyone planning to take it over the summer? Because it is offered over the summer. Nobody?
No, it is too long in the summer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look up the curriculum of that class because this is a very legit question, and it's a good thing that you asked the question. And let's see, where is it? Curriculum surfaces. This is basically the most definitive source of course information, but unfortunately we don't have an interface to publish these things to students. So it is for the most part in your catalog, but this is actually better than the one in the catalog. Okay, so we want to take a look at this one here. This stuff is in the catalog. This is catalog description. This course is an introduction to structured programming and objects. Topics include program design, documentation, soft skills, documentation, testing, and debugging. Okay, something that we just talked about. But the debugging in that class is to use a debugger for debugging. So you have a tool for that sort of thing. As well as data representation, data types, variables, constants, and operators. It also includes control structures like conditional statements and loops. Interactive and file input-output, which is something that we did not talk about, is file input and output. But those are fairly easy concepts to stack on top of what you already know. Standard libraries, basically subroutines that other people have written, so you don't have to write those subroutines. Arrays, we talked about that already. Pointers, we have not really talked about pointers per se, but we did talk about something that is similar to pointers. Can anyone guess which concept we talked about in this class is remotely connected to pointers? Yes? Passing by reference, exactly. Okay, the mechanism of passing by reference is actually related to pointers. Methods, which are basically functions, classes, and objects. We never really talked about classes in this class, except we talked about something that is closely related to classes. What is that? Records. Exactly. So you can basically see how CISP300 is a prep class for CISP360 because a lot of this class transfers to CISP360. And then these are the details of that class, which is actually very important because this is as detailed as it gets when it comes to what you can expect from that class. And this is not something you can get from the catalog. So for the first week or so, it will be introduction to computer programming, computer organization, operating systems, machine language, and high-level languages. So this is basically a survey of how these things are all interrelated. Editing, pre-processing, compiling, linking, loading, and executing programs, and that's basically the